Hey, welcome back to the Six Figure Mastermind. Marianne with you today. Today we're talking part 2 on how to become a good public speaker. So stay tuned. Now, a good public speaker is what I like to call relevant. Okay, and let me explain to you a little bit about what that means to be relevant. You know, a lot of people want to get on these stages and they feel this burning inside of them to share the message with the world, and then they'll stop because they don't think that they have had a life-changing enough experience to merit being on stage. You know, you hear these amazing speakers like Nick Vujicic, who no arms, no legs, no problems, right? He's an amazing speaker who's born without arms and legs and clearly has something to speak about and does so masterfully. You'll listen to other speakers who maybe have a skydiving incident where their chute didn't open and they impacted the earth and lived to tell the tale. Maybe you could think of 100 incredible life-changing stories. And yet, not everyone has experienced that. You know, I'm not going to poo-poo on that and say it's not effective, because of course it is. Of course, there's life-changing experiences. I have a dear friend who's had 3 entire lung transplants and who is an opera singer. She's incredible and delivers a very powerful story. At the same time, many of us who want to speak on a public stage haven't had an experience like that. And while those experiences are valuable and there's massive, massive lessons to be learned from them, maybe it doesn't make sense for everybody. Maybe it doesn't click for anybody. Maybe the most impactful experience you have had in your life was one like I had just 2 days ago. You know, my son, he's 5 years old and he's a brilliant boy. And even more and more often he's coming up to me and saying these mind-blowing, profound statements. And this one was just like all the rest. And he comes up to me and he says, "Mom, you know the movie A Little Prince, where they all have their own little worlds, and the prince has this planet, and the businessman has this planet, and the sheep herder has her planet, and the whole planet is just filled with what they love?" He said, "Mom, I think if you were in The Little Prince, I think your planet would be the work planet, because you work a lot." And I have to tell you, that hit me like a ton of bricks. I am a trainer, I'm a speaker, I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur. I even train and make videos on how to balance work and home life. And yet, you guys, this masterpiece is not complete. I still have days where I fall flat on my face, and that gets to happen. And I get to learn lessons from that. And my son was willing and bold enough to share that feedback with me. And it took me completely off guard, and it made me step back and reevaluate some things and saying, you know what? Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. Now, I share that experience with you for 2 reasons. One, because it's a relevant experience. It happened to me literally 2 days ago, and my son just sharing a simple nugget with me. Now, I know a lot of you, you're moms just like me. You have kids who give you feedback, and sometimes it can stop you dead in your tracks. And that, as a masterful speaker, is something you can learn a lesson from and share with your audience. For me, it was a huge lesson on how my balance is doing. How am I doing creating harmony? How am I doing in my children's lives and creating an impact and setting an example for them? And for me, that was a big deal. Was it jumping out of a building, or was it cliff jumping, or was it, almost getting eaten by sharks? No, it wasn't. But it was just as deep and just as impactful, and maybe even perhaps more relevant, because so many more of my audience members can relate to that than can relate to a near-death experience. So if you want to be a great public speaker, find the lessons in everyday life and stay relevant. Things that happened to you 24 hours ago, things that happened on the way to delivering your signature presentation. Find a lesson in it and share it with your people. One of the last things you need to keep in mind when wanting to become a good public speaker is to get out there and speak. I know it sounds like, duh, of course you'd want to do that, but if everyone was, willing to do it, everyone would be doing it. Not everyone is actually willing to get out there, open their mouth, and speak in public. Open your home to people. Invite them in. Tell them you're delivering a presentation. Start doing Facebook Lives. I offer a challenge to people all the time. Do 50 Facebook Lives in 1 month. That's more than one a day. They don't have to be long. Just share your message for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes, for 5 minutes. Share something that's relevant that's going on in your world. In fact, if you want a challenge, I'm going to challenge you to do a Facebook Live based on something that happened to you in the last 24 hours that you learned a lesson from. Get on Facebook and share the message, because if you want to be a public speaker, you're going to have to get in front of people. You're going to have to let go of being afraid of being Facebook Lives. You're going to have to let go of being afraid of speaking people in your home. You're going to have to let go of being afraid of being in front of people, exposing the vulnerable parts of your life and being okay with it. Because like I said, if you want to be an informational speaker, that's fine. You can get that anywhere. Anyone can find that anywhere. But if you want to offer real transformation and become not just a good, but an excellent public speaker, you've got to do perfect practice, which means practicing doing what you love and practicing it perfectly. Thanks for watching today. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give me a comment below. Let me know what you liked about it. I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button. In fact, ring the bell too, so that you can get more updates on our videos when they get published to you every day. All of that aside, I want to know if you are going to be my next public speaker. You see, I have this classroom that I call the pressure cooker. And if public speaking is the scariest thing to do, then my classroom's the scariest place on earth, but that's exactly why we do it, because I want you to be a superb public speaker. And if that's you, hit me up in the description. There's a link in there that you can click on that will hook you up with me and my team, so you and I can have a conversation about what it looks like to get you on the stage. I'll see you tomorrow.